LinkedIn ads is spectacular. I absolutely love it when it comes to B2B businesses trying to drive business their way. But one thing I don't like about it is how they hide such a huge amount of data from you when you're trying to sign up as a new user.
I mean, seriously.
It's genuinely about 90% of the data is hidden away unless you choose to go in and customize it to make it your own and show everything as you want it to be seen. Not just showing that data, but also showing it in the right way that you can easily understand and diagnose what is actually going on within the ad account. So that's what we're going to do today. I literally have managed millions in ad spend, and so I've gone through this process a lot and played with these columns endlessly. And so we're going to go with the professional standard column setup for your LinkedIn ads account. And before I go on, don't worry about trying to follow this too obsessively in terms of grabbing each different column for your setup. I've created a free download that you can just head to in the description of this video, where it will give you every single column perfectly set up, and the same for Google, the same for Meta ads as well. So you can get every single major paid platform's columns set up perfectly based on exactly how real professional agencies do it today. But anyway, let's dig into it. I'm going to show it to you in this video, walk through why I have them as I have them. I'm not going to go into tons of detail with every single column because it would take too long, but I'll give you the high level perspective. Okay, so we have a starting point here. I've gone to campaign. Essentially, they're largely similar for campaign group, campaign, and ads. When it comes to LinkedIn, it does vary more with Google and a little bit with Facebook, but it's largely the same with LinkedIn. So top, we have campaign name. Of course, you need that to be able to identify what each campaign is. So we try and have we have rules about how we name things. So we give a date at the start, and then the type of conversion, and then the type of creative, and then the version of creative in terms of video or image or carousel, because you have to pick one for each different campaign within LinkedIn. And then of course off on, which is just appropriately important to know if you have your campaigns off and on. What is the status? That's always good to remember, just in case, avoids errors where you accidentally leave something as enabled or go running when you shouldn't be. And then we have start date. This is helpful to just be again aware of how long have you actually had this running, because often a mistake people make is make changes too quickly with their account. So sometimes you launch some new campaigns only 4 days ago and you're trying to decide what are the winners, and that's far too quick. So you need to give it more time. And then we have daily budget. This is also important to remember, average daily spend. So these are all kind of spend-based things, because it gives you the framework, the starting point to understand what is the structure to the rest of the data that you're about to look at. Because if you've only spent £100, well then who cares what the cost per result is or the cost per click, because it's just not enough spend. Whereas if you spent 5K, you know that the data that you're about to look at, you understand the story behind it. Is there enough? Is it valid data, basically? And then we go with key result first within LinkedIn, because it varies a lot more what you set as the key result, whether it's conversions or leads or video or engagement or whatever it is. And then cost per result, which is obviously very important. That's especially important within this because it's often lead gen that you're going to be doing in one form or another. And so what is the cost per lead or site conversion that you're aiming for? Return on ad spend, I still like to have that. So you can set within your conversion tracking what it is and set that here. I really like to do that. And just to point out, we generally have a funnel that we work through for the rest of the columns, but I put the results stuff first because ultimately nothing else matters as much as this. You can have a terrible CPM, you can have a super high frequency, which might in other ways be bad, but as long as you're getting a really cheap cost per result in a way that is ultimately profitable for you, then who cares what the frequency is? Who cares what the cost per click is? What matters is this. This is all that ultimately matters. And then let's dig into it. So the rest of this is impressions is the start of that top of the funnel. So it's when someone's first engaging with you. And then there's the reach into the frequency. This is one that almost is never added automatically as frequency. And you are able to go to a much higher frequency within LinkedIn ads comparative to Google or Facebook, because you really need to chase people for a lot longer time when it comes to a B2B conversion. But at the same time, you still need to be aware of it. You've also got average CPM, and that's the cost per thousand, going into clicks, going into average CPC, average CTR. These are obviously good for how people are engaging with the ad. We've also within LinkedIn got views, view rate, view to percentages of different levels and completions. This is more important in this world because within LinkedIn, a strategy that I really enjoy is to do much more organic content with videos where we're trying to get people to watch videos, and then we do the remarketing to people that have watched those videos to then actually convert them into sales. So getting people to watch videos at different percentages is much more interesting with LinkedIn in my experience. We've also got view conversions, which is separate to other conversions, but it's nice to see if that's happening. Sometimes the organic content can get a lot of those because they just go and find you another way. And then we've got conversions, which is the other way of looking at cost per result, but sometimes you might have leads, for example, as the focus, but you still want to see your conversion data. So that can be in here. You can also do a breakdown, by the way, here by conversions to see the different types. So you might have time on site, visits, or other types of conversions here. Then we've got leads. Like I said, you might be doing one or the other. So you still want to have these columns, and not just leads, but opens, completions, and cost per lead. So sometimes it can be that lots of people are opening the form, but then they don't like your form. So the completion rate isn't good. So it's good to have all of these columns to diagnose that. Engagement rate. So if you're doing a post that's trying to just build engagement and then you're doing remarketing, this can be an interesting field to look at. Open rates and click to open rates. This is more to do with sponsored in-mails and things like that. So this is good to look at for those. I don't do them that often. I do them sometimes. It kind of has its place. LinkedIn has a big variety of placements that you can use, which are fun. And then there's a few other fields which I don't generally care too much about because I don't use them as much, but end date, lifetime budget, and bids. Occasionally these are important, so I kind of just let them sit at the end. So yeah, there you go. Those are the columns for LinkedIn that I generally use. There is a bit of variation still with LinkedIn because it's just so diverse compared to Meta ads or Google ads. You have a really big variety of types of placements like sponsored in-mails, LinkedIn lead gen forms, which we use a lot more, site conversions, all of these different things that we might be doing, which is a bit more diverse, I would say, within LinkedIn compared to Meta or Google. And so you need more columns for that. So these do vary a bit, but this is a great starting point. So there we have it. Those are my favorite columns for LinkedIn ads, which you can be adding. If you want to have that really simple downloadable, then just head to the description of this video where I give you all of the columns for LinkedIn, as well as Google and Meta. Much simpler to look at. It's a simple like column by column by column in a nice spreadsheet that you can simply then add in, so it'll save you some time. And I do have a video for the Meta version of this and for the Google version. So if you're interested in that, I'll try to link them right now so you can click on to watch those. And otherwise, I do hope you subscribe so that I get to see you in the next one.